session, the current practices and opportunities for improving operating room efficiency through artificial intelligence. We have an amazing panel that has put a lot of work into this talk, who's up here right now. We've got Stuart Carter, Anthony Tsai, Kristen Kaiser, and Ben Keller. But we also had a lot of assistance from the rest of the New Technology Committee, who's mentioned on this slide, who did a lot of the background research. That was a laser pointer. That was not this. All right. Disclosures. None of us have any disclosures relevant to the topic of this discussion, but I really need to point out, due to CME issues, we are not able to discuss any specific companies in this talk. If we did, everyone to the left and right of us and before and after us would also have lost CME coverage. So what we're going to decided to do was we limited the presentation to, we did research on companies. We are going to refer to them as company A, B, C, or D, and then and explain to you kind of what's out there. But we can't actually tell you the name of the company. These were the objectives that we put up initially to identify the challenges in the operating room administration and scheduling that AI is potentially able to address, as well as discuss current use and limitations of AI in operating room administration. But during our kind of research, we kind of found that there are a bunch of companies out there. And yes, there's a bunch of OR management companies, but there's also a bunch doing OR safety and even OR teaching with AI. And so we kind of broke it up into these three categories. We're going to go through those in order. And then if we have time, we figure we could maybe even have a discussion with you all about AI in pediatric surgery and future roads we can take and ethical considerations and all that fun stuff. So with that, we'll start with OR management. This is currently the most common area that AI is used in the operating room. It has the most available products in the market. Most of them help with developing smarter OR schedules, better prediction of OR times, et cetera. And I'm going to hand it over to Anthony, who's going to give you a really good talk about an unnamed company.
All right. All right, so the first company that we're going to talk about deals with OR workflow. It's a company that uses AI technology to facilitate workflow. So quick introduction of AI. It's rapidly reshaping perioperative care and also a lot of other aspects of healthcare and other things. Several companies work on products that have real-time surgical workflow analysis. The first company that we're going to talk about mainly focuses on analyzing ambient OR data to give you an output on the workflow, and then that is connected to your EHR to automate documentation of OR milestones for the nurses. And using those data, it optimizes workflow and allows different stakeholders to see what's going on in the operating room and maximize output. So how does their product work? They have computer vision technology installed in the operating room that is feedback into their system, and that computer vision technology can pick up different events in the operating room, tell you when the patient rolls in, when anesthesia starts, when surgery starts, when surgery ends, and when patient rolls out. It also can tell you when cleaning starts, when cleaning ends, and turnover is ready. Using that technology, the feedback to their system, it's combined with EHR data to see who are the surgeons, who are the anesthesiology staff, and other people in the room, and what their tendency tend to be, and put that into another AI machine learning to give you output on what the most likely finish time is. And these information is then presented to different staff members and stakeholders to facilitate their workflow. This is a picture of what their perioperative computer vision model looks like. You can see that it can pick up people moving in the room and where different items are in the operating room, and that's fed back into the system. This is a dashboard of their schedule, and gives you an output on most likely time for finishing time. We're going to skip these. And then people who are managing the turnovers can look at the turnover dashboard and also have an idea of how the turnovers are going, whether it's on time or it's overtime, and also be able to predict how the cases are going. And using these things, they can be fed back to pre-op and post-op, where they can use those information to facilitate their own scheduling. And all these things are automated. And if you are a nursing manager or anesthesia manager, you can look at that and see where your staffing management can be and optimize that based on the information that's outputted. You could also dashboard of the different statuses in the operating room, and that will, the color scheme actually tells you how the rooms are going, what stage of the operation it is. All these also fed back to surgeons, staff members, and nurses, and give them updates on how the cases are going, and alert them as to when most likely their case start time will be. So in summary, the core capabilities of this program gives you audio and event capture that will give you real-time alerts and workflow management, and it will also alert you to anomalies in the workflow. It's integrated with EHR, and it will give you operational performance dashboards. The benefits are it reduces idle time, it improves turnover efficiency, and it can identify system bottlenecks. All these data also saved that can be analyzed later, and people can look at which surgeons tend to have, they can look at their statistics of their OR time for different cases, and all that can be easily outputted into databases. Documentation can also be improved based on documentation of the operating room milestone. And then leaders can look at these and the data and improve their metrics and their staffing management. There's a case study of a tertiary center looking at usage of 12 ORs that had this system installed. They dropped their turnover time by 22% in 4 months, and compliance of documentation in the operating room improved about 20%. For 12 OR rooms, there's estimated about $1.3 million of annual savings. So benefits, as you can see, it can improve patient safety. It can give you objective performance feedback. It can improve your operational efficiency. And the leaders can make decisions based on data that's automated. And documentation can also be automated. Limitations, there are still some privacy and legal concerns based on where the video and data is captured and stored. There can also be data overload and integration challenges with legacy systems in the different hospitals. Right? The cost analysis can also be difficult based on high initial investment cost. And then how these AI systems work, the transparency and bias is not always easy to identify. So just keep those in mind, because a lot of the other systems that we're going to talk about have very similar advantages and disadvantages.
Two more slides.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. I'm going to talk about two more products in a much more brief fashion. This product, B, optimizes long-term and daily OR management and leverages machine learning to achieve more efficient results. Very similar to the product before, but using more of just the data from it. And so it's using a machine learning-based OR management, waiting list management, and real-time surgery progress updates. And this is all integrated into a mobile application so that users are able to access it on their phones, and then gives you these surgery documentation and business intelligence reports and dashboards. Some really big perks of this is it has seamless integration into existing IT systems like the EMR. There's digital door signs with real-time updates. It uses AI to predict the length of operations for more consistent scheduling and coordinating with the required instruments and resources for operation, and additionally managing cancellations and rescheduling. And then also has add-ons to manage large sterile supply chains and route surgery media. Another product with very similar utility has kind of three key focus areas: inpatient care, perioperative care, and surgical growth. They make these claims that they're improving patient flow, reducing length of stay, and automating the discharge process with these machine learning, improving perioperative care by optimizing the OR utilization, reducing cancelizations, and streamlining scheduling, and then increasing case volume through those avenues. In this OR utilization, some of the specific items that they talked about was automating block release with predictions and usable hours versus blocks, proactively marketing market open time, so using like system-based nudges of like, hey, we have a room open tomorrow, can we add on this is there any other cases to add on? Quickly scheduling cases automatically without a user, so fewer phone calls and automatic confirmations, and then kind of use of assets, so using that robotic room for robotic cases and keeping it available to use the robot.
Excellent. So product D is very similar to product C, right? There's a lot of competition in this market space. So, but I'll go into a little bit more of the detail and the specific things that product D has kind of put into their platform. So the solution that they're trying to solve is that healthcare organizations rely on manual and outdated workflows to schedule surgical procedures and manage patient flow, as well as allocate block time. Those methods are time consuming and they leave the door open to human error. And this human error can result in increased wait times, delayed patient delays, and really operating rooms sitting idle. And so the high level solution that Company D provides is they basically built a comprehensive software platform that uses artificial intelligence and machine learning based on real time and historical EMR data to perform predictive analysis to improve OR scheduling, staffing assignments, and efficiency within the OR. And ultimately, this should decrease the burdensome manual work that's prone to human error. So going into the platform, they have three modules that they've built into their platform. The first module is called Exchange and Case Scheduling. And really what this does is it tries to identify compatible availability for surgeons and their service lines while ensuring the appropriate equipment is available that they need. So if you have 15 ORs in your hospital and only 10 of them are equipped with laparoscopic capability, right? Some current solutions don't take that into account, so they don't take into the exact equipment that's in the room. And so this software platform identifies that so that it can identify when a room is open, what specific cases can go into there, and it takes out some of the human guesswork to that. So it's called the Smart Match process. It also displays open time to surgeons and schedulers, and I have a quick screenshot of what that looks like to make it easy to request that open time. And the last part of this module is that it analyzes booking patterns to identify blocks that are likely to go unutilized by a surgeon, and then it sends those surgeons reminders to proactively release that time of the unused blocks. So just two screenshots of what that looks like. On the left-hand side is how this product does makes available time or displays available time for surgeons to select. And so it's just a easy click, and you submit the request for that time. On the right-hand side is their predictive analysis of potentially block time that may go unused. And so basically what it looks at is within 4 weeks out, it starts to analyze the block time. And if your surgeon A has patterns of not filling their block time, it will pick up on that from the machine learning process, identify it, and then send them a reminder saying, hey, there's an 80% chance that you're not going to book anything into this. If you're not going to book anything into this, can you release it early so that we can fill it? The second module is the Analyze module, and really this monitors OR performance, and it provides actionable guidance for surgeons and OR managers to act on. And so this is really kind of a big data piece of their platform. Not only do they collect that data and analyze it, they send mobile alerts to surgeons, and so surgeons have an idea of how their work is contributing to OR volumes, what their performance is compared to their colleagues, and it trends their individual performance over time. And so what this really does is it gives real-time data to understand their utilization patterns, how effective a surgeon is utilizing their block time, what are the causes of first start delays, are there long-term turnovers, and can we identify why those turnovers are long, and are there last-minute cancellations that are reoccurrent, and can we prevent those from happening? And what this does is it really allows the OR leadership to have fact-based discussions with providers about their performance and their potential needs to change the way that they're utilizing OR time. The last module is a collect and allocate, and this really looks at allocation of block time. So it mines block release patterns, it looks at unused block time, and it looks at abandoned blocks to identify how they can repurpose that unused block time. And so this really gives perioperative leaders information on how to redistribute those unused blocks to new or existing surgeons so that the OR time is being utilized most efficiently. It also shows what surgeons are using out of their block time, so who's scheduling a bunch of add-on cases outside of their time, and so it identifies those, and then it identifies those as high utilization surgeons, and then can put them in first in line for reallocation of block time to be assigned to those who are using the most time. One other piece of this product is that they look at staffing optimization, and so they perform predictive analytics on the operating rooms as far as 4 weeks out to look at staffing and trend patterns of staffing. And so it tries to best match demand with the resources. And the other kind of unique thing that this product does is that it figures out and identifies if surgeon A does an inguinal hernia in 30 minutes with this group, and then with this scrub tech and this circulating nurse, and then it takes them always 50 minutes to do it with this scrub tech and this circulating nurse. It identifies those teams that they work most efficiently with, and then assigns that team to that surgeon's room more often. So I think that's a unique solution that they built into their platform. So these are a couple screenshots of what that looks like. The one on the left-hand side is just forecasting the volume over several weeks to make sure that you have the appropriate number of circulating nurses, scrub techs on a certain day to fill the volume that you need. And then how the staffing is done by the software. A few more details. It interfaces with all EMRs. It just kind of sits on top and it collects and hones all that data. One of the most common EMRs is their biggest competitor, and that's being built on. Currently, this product is in use in over 120 health systems, and it's managing over 5,600 operating rooms. It's a month-to-month subscription. And they do have other breakout pieces that look at infusion centers and optimizing inpatient capacity and flow. So really what it boils down to is the outcomes, and what they see in a bunch of different case studies is on average you can increase the case volume by 6%, you can increase the prime time case utilization by 4%, and increase block utilization by 5%, and staff room utilization by 7%. So small improvements, but improvements nonetheless, and certainly in the most expensive area in the hospital. And so what this translates to is a fairly big return on investment.
So that was OR management. As you can see, that's really where kind of the bulk of AI has been employed, and a lot of companies already have products out there that some of our hospitals are already using, and have had some good success there. Another area of real interest is OR safety. How can these products help to identify intraoperative critical steps or anatomy in order to make sure you don't mix them, or, as some of them do, identify things like the ureter, or watch out, cystic duct coming up on the left, those types of things. Some of them can even be linked to patient charts in order to help, when you have a complication, go back and try to help you figure out what the cause of that complication was. So I'm going to present this one, which is AI-based capture of the robotic or laparoscopic videos. and it uses AI to help recommend improvements in order to improve your operating room efficiency as well as safety. So again, it all kind of comes back to the OR management again. On their website, their biggest benefit by far is reducing the amount of camera out of body time when you're doing these procedures. I'm not entirely sure how it yells at you to put the camera back in and keep working, but that appears to be what their biggest push is. But they use it for a bunch of other things as well. So like I said, it can annotate steps of the procedure and intraoperative events. So when you're doing your operative note later, it can actually remind you this is what we did. It can be used for things, like I said, like identifying the ureter, and it has even, they claim, identified complications that were unseen by the surgeon. They don't say what those complications were, but that's what they claim on their website. And like I said, it can link to patient outcomes to help identify the causes of said complications. And oops. So the other thing that's really interesting is they can use it for GME related things and watch as the trainee is working in order to help kind of give back or feedback report of how they've done and what they can do to improve as well. So this product specifically kind of has multi-parts to it, whether it be OR management as well as OR safety and OR teaching. We are going to go back into a little bit of OR management, OR productivity. We're a bit separate for us. But we're going to talk a little bit about some products that kind of overlap a little bit with safety and productivity, which are aimed to reduce the intraoperative inefficiencies. Many of them focus on things, like I said, reducing out-of-body camera time, but also can help with things like annotating steps of the procedure to help with the operative notes afterwards. So I'll turn it over to Stuart. Big green button.
All right. The product that I was looking into is probably one of the better known products out there.
Big green. That was the wrong one. Yeah.
Not a big green. And so this is a form of audiovisual capture AI combined with data analytics, combining computer vision as well as machine learning. It emulates what was already very well done in the, I guess, in the airline industry associated with just being able to identify problems associated with different flights and just giving feedback as to what happened. Same concept, essentially, without saying exactly what the product is. But it is one of the only AI that platforms that has a AI-driven surgical safety checklist. You can see it basically is observing and listening, simultaneously going through all elements of your institution's specific checklist. One of the major quality initiatives that they have has been demonstrated in publications. Basically, it can identify distractions in the OR, how many times was the door open during the procedure, what is teamwork like in the OR, interruptions, device failures, things of that nature. And it actually will alert you for different elements. Like I was looking at one operation, it was telling the surgeon that there was spillage associated with a gallbladder surgery. So it can identify certain elements associated with the operation. It has a case discovery module, which automatically will detect clinical and operational outliers. So that's really useful, retrospectively looking at the operation to facilitate root cause analysis as well as quality improvement initiatives. It has efficiency elements. So it has a room state module, which is real-time data collection with predictive analytics. So it also has elements similar to other products with case schedule optimization, improving throughput and alerting staff and suggesting changes to the schedule as the OR schedule is running so that you can fit other cases in where needed and kind of eliminate certain inefficiencies. Lastly, this product also has built-in video capture and has the ability to be utilized in a simulation setting. So you can do video capture, editing, and review with residents, just kind of looking at your own operative experience, and can also be used in simulation outside of the OR. So simulation for CPR, for nursing staff, OR staff to see what they're doing in the OR, how do they manage things, how can they do things better. And then finally, technical analysis of errors and inefficiencies. So the this particular product is actually fairly widely published. So if you are interested in learning more about AI, I think there's 90 plus publications on this specific device. The first publications were really trying to correlate interruptions in the OR with outcomes. There is a version of this platform that is specific to the trauma bay, so trauma video analysis. And they've shown that increased movement in the OR impedes team performance. They've looked at particular behaviors in the OR associated with team dynamics, and then how the impact of team performance on surgical safety checklists can affect patient outcomes. So fairly widely studied, and it's always nice to have a little bit of data to support use. It boasts some of the same things that other platforms do, including wide integration with EHRs, operating under the right kind of health level standards, application programming interfaces that allow its messengers or translators to communicate with other programs within your system. So if you have all of these different types of software, this particular platform should be, and I don't have any practical experience with it, but seems to boast a more seamless integration into your pre-existing software in the OR. PACS imaging software integration. It integrates with medical and simulation devices, laparoscopic, arthroscopic, and robotic platforms. And then it also will incorporate institution-specific safety measures, security measures, such as single sign-on and encryption of data. And follows privacy guidelines according to HIPAA, GDPR, and also compliance that's specific to how does software integrate into the healthcare system. There are controversies, and some of these controversies have been I guess, published as well, related to OR staff reception. So early adopters of this, the OR didn't like having Big Brother on the wall, so they decided to vandalize or cover the camera or move it away from the operating field. Their way of dealing with this is built-in voice and facial identification. So everybody's face is blurred, everybody's voice is changed when you're reviewing anything after the fact. The potential for legal discovery, this is largely untested, and right now just de-identifying everything and encrypting everything, I can't imagine that this won't become an issue at some point, but they certainly say that it is less discoverable based on certain protective measures. And then, the lack of transparency in these algorithms. So you have AI where everything is transparent. You're very aware of how it is making decisions. And then you have most AI, which they may have programmed it a certain way, but as the AI evolves, improves upon it over time, you become less and less aware of how is the AI actually making decisions as to what is a complication, what is an error, that sort of thing. And so the data that basically what it amounts to is you have to do your own analysis to ensure that the AI is actually doing what it is designed to do. Another product is this is a product that is focused more specifically to visual capture and analysis. So automatic surgical video analysis. It offers live streaming surgeries, performance insights using artificial intelligence, and also simulation training. Integrates with EMR and provides case review support. And this video-specific platform improves efficiency by helping you document and set up a little bit more quickly for operations. What did you do poorly in other operations that you could then do more efficiently based on previous video analysis? Did you forget a certain element of your operation that you can now more quickly review and include in your operative documentation? It enhances the transparency of workflow in the operating room, similar to other products where the inefficiencies occurring, And then they also provide a fairly robust remote support network and allow for collaboration between users.
And then last, we have a bit more on OR teaching, which Kristen has graciously offered to go over for us.
So this is, I think, the last product, and this is obviously something that's really relevant for trainees, looking at AI evaluation of our surgical skills and in the skills lab. I know doing PEG transfers and all of those things are really important, but sometimes not knowing like what I can do to make myself better is a little unclear. And this product is able to kind of help solve some of that. They started with using real-time evaluation of the surgical trainee skills. They've been doing it with knot tying and PEG transfer. It's an app on your camera or smartphone, so you just plug that into the box itself, and it helps give you step-by-step guidance for the task, and then gives you a grade and a score. This is kind of really similar to what I think of as the robotic training that seems to do the same thing. And so this real-time like feedback and very personalized to what you're doing and how to do it better is something that's really exciting from my standpoint. They're currently working on expanding the FLS skills to the circle transfer or the circle cut, but hopefully that will come soon.
So that was our 30-ish minute run through of a whole lot of products that you now get to Google and figure out what they are if you are interested in using them. I first wanted to give a second for people to, I really want to open this up and make this a bit more of a public discussion. I think AI is terrifying, yet exciting, and possibly a venue to really improve our jobs, but also could have some difficult outcomes or ethical considerations. And so I wanted to give people a chance to ask questions first, but if not, then I'm going to probably launch into a discussion on some of those topics. But yeah, come on up.
Hi, Carlos Colunga from Tech Salud, Mexico. Stuart talked a little bit about this with the black box.
We don't know what it was.
It's about knowing how the model was created versus not knowing how the model was created when training and validating it, which is called a black box type of model versus a white box type of model. My question is, according to your point of view, how strongly must we be pushing for open box type of models, like so that we know from what type of data did we use, like specifically if it's the intraoperative models. So did they train it with 80-year-olds and we're using it for 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds? So I do believe it's important, but I want to know, open discussion, how strongly must we be pushing, like, hey, we're not going to buy from you if it's a closed black box model, or hey, we don't mind as long as it's working, even if we don't know why it's working.
You know, for the purpose of avoiding, biases and just making sure that we're using the right technology for the right patient population, I do think you need some transparency, especially in how it was initially designed. I think that the beauty of it is self-improvement, the ability for these products to potentially become more efficient over time, to train themselves. And so I don't mind the idea of having, a black box in the OR that is interpreting the information and potentially, telling us how to improve things. I think, you need to validate these results yourselves. I think having that data available and being able to look at it yourself, especially if you're seeing a pattern that you don't necessarily agree with, is very important. But ultimately, I think that it doesn't bother me knowing that this product has the ability to make decisions independent of me knowing exactly how it's making the decisions, as long as I have the basics in mind of how I did it. So, I don't necessarily need a software company to tell me everything about the product, but it's nice to know how it was designed initially. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
I think it's a good question. I mean, we don't just read the conclusion of an abstract and decide that we're going to listen to what it says, right? We as doctors are trained that way so that we can actually look at the methods. And you're right, a lot of these are proprietary systems, and they don't tell us what it was trained on, and that can be a little difficult. Were you going to say something, Anthony, about that, or? Go for it.
Mark Slidell, Baltimore. Just curious what you guys think about the potential for decision-making being taken out of our hands, right? And whether there are certain situations where you think that's probably a good thing And I imagine some hospitals will feel more strongly than others about that. So just curious about your thoughts on that.
I would say in terms of the OR management tools that we kind of discussed, most of them just produce, they do make decisions for you, but what they do is they produce a ton of data, and then you can actually sit down and look at that data. So if you're going to your OR and you're advocating for more block time from your OR leadership, you can take the data that this machine learning has made for you and actually give you the ability to make decisions. So from an OR management, I think it does make decisions based on day-to-day and staffing and other things like that we typically don't make decisions about as surgeons. It's mostly done by the OR leadership. But I think what it does give us is data based on the utilization of the OR and how we're utilizing the OR to actually have conversations. So it actually maybe gives us a little bit more power. I would say with what Brian Gluck presented, the ones that kind of recognize where, well, maybe the ureter is there, maybe this is there, that's helpful. So I don't know how much, decision-making is being taken out of the hands by some of this, by some of the products, but others certainly may.
My ethical issue with that is that, there were definitely products out there that are pointing out mistakes, but they're going to be using that data to build for themselves onto the next generation. And is it ethical for us as surgeons to kind of push back so that we don't lose our jobs by helping build the machine that's going to take us out of the equation? And I don't know the answer to that. I've always told people I think we're the last generations of surgeons. I don't think you can look at technology today and make the argument that you don't think a robot with AI is going to be able to do our surgeries in 30 years. But I don't know if we should be part of that destruction.
Hi, Chris Fink, Connecticut. So having half of my role in administration, I understand some of the utility, especially with optimizing our OR times, because we constantly are getting asked for more block time. We improve OR utilization. So I agree with you, being at the leading edge of designing these systems and saying what's important, knowing the methods about how to do it, because companies like Chartis, and I don't know how many of you guys have been audited by other companies, but my institution loves to do that. Bring in an outside consultant, have them go through all of our operative records, get into Epic Op Time and all that, and then spit out some information to say, if you did this, then you would save $1.3 million a year or something. And they use this already. So they're already using these AI systems. So I think it's important for us as surgeons to be on that bandwagon and to understand, because I don't always trust their data. So yes, the robot is great. It can come in and look at all patterns and details, but it's really not going to tell you the nuance of that case and what may have taken you an extra 5 minutes that case versus, the last time. And so I think we have to really understand these companies. I'd be interested to see which companies these are offline, and be part of the solution and not just sit back and wait for it to come on to us.
What is it? How do you think it's best to do that? I mean, is it best to engage directly with the companies as part of APSA? Do you think that it's best for individuals and higher up in administration to do that? I mean, how do we actually do that engagement?
Well, again, wearing my administrator's hat, I don't necessarily think that administration understands all the things that we as surgeons face. And so I think that having a partnership with administration is a good thing, but I think as surgeons, we need to be the ones reaching out to these companies and trying to understand what they're trying to do. I imagine a lot of these have gone to innovative forums and pitched made their pitch, and I bet you most of them are not in the medical profession, but probably in business and venture capital. And so I think partnering with them in some way or fashion. Now, as APSA representatives, I think it would be a great idea or a great, opportunity. And they would love that, because if they could come in and if somehow we could get the CME things, separate and have them disclose and come present to us, that might be a nice way, because then we can give them feedback. I just don't know how to do that. I know we had all that legal talk back and forth. But.
So
Yeah, they were very interested to do that. To come and present. I mean, they want, yeah.
I don't know if you can couch it, because like Health AI is going through Yale this month, and they are bringing in companies, and they've figured out a way to get around it.
Yeah.
And I just don't know how APSA can figure out a way, because it's really more of a national organization.
So another way to think about it is all these products are going to be developed one way or another, whether we're part of it or not. And actually, one of the companies was started by a surgeon. So I think it's important for us to be involved in the developing of the product as well, so we can let them know what's important to us and what's important to even administration and to the hospital administration. And we can be, like you said, part of the solution in developing these products because we can then let them know what's important to our surgeon.
And flip it so that it's not punitive to us, but actually helpful. Because what would make me really excited is if we could have a system, an AI-generated system that looks at patterns of how scheduling goes and can optimize, putting in different things like you guys talked about up front, and adding in cases so that you don't have like your plastic surgeon waiting till next September to get their case in, but knowing that surgeon X always goes away in May. Right? That would be fantastic. We're human. We don't have that down yet. So I can see how it could be to our benefit.
I think we got time for another. I'm sorry, one more behind you. Yeah.
Abdel Zergan, Omaha, Nebraska. So my own opinion is for the near future, I don't know if that's 3 to 7 years, these things won't replace us, but someone who knows how to use it will. Very simple. The person, it could be an executive, could be a surgeon, it doesn't matter who it is. If the person knows how to use these tools, they're the ones who are going to replace us. So be sure to be that person. Right now, the current challenge is cost. There's untested products that are beta testing on us. So what we've done is we force these companies to gain access for free. They're going to benefit. So they come in. It still costs because someone needs to implement it. It usually takes 3 months. There's a lot of cost implementing it through the security and so on. But even after that, they're beta testing on us. I'm like, you want to come in? You want to see what we can do? And then you give it to us for free for at least a year. And I've done that with 2 companies so that we know which one is which. A different one that we really liked, we actually paid a little bit of money, just something symbolic. But it's, I don't know, for the OR, we used to spend about a couple $100,000 10 years ago on software. Right now, it's over 20 million that we use for overall operatives just on pure software. It'll increase over time. That's, in my opinion, right now, the issue is who are the winners, which ones actually make sense, and they're gonna work. Are they gonna work a little bit? Is there another product that's gonna work even more? Is there another product that's gonna do all of what you said in one? Because it's all integrated, and as the chips get better and as the technology gets better, that's currently my issue is, okay, you put up those 5 things. I recognize some of them. I didn't recognize others. Are they good? I don't know. And who's going to tell us? What's good about what you can do and APSA can do and other organizations is to help say, this is a good product. This is not a good product. This is a good product for that. Because that's what we need help with. Kind of like the literature. If there's too much to read, it's helpful to have a panel of experts say, these are the great articles that have come out in pediatric surgery for the last 3 months because there's too much to read. So that might be a step to help us because right now, I don't know, products they are, and I'm sure yours are great, and I'm sure ours are great, but and I don't want to spend $2 million figuring it out. I want to spend nothing.
Yeah, we'll have to consider that for sure for the new technology committee. It's a good idea to have the new tech stamp of approval that we can't do here for CME reasons, but we could always do by an email type thing. Yeah.
Olutoye Columbus, just a question too, based on that, you guys have probably thought about this too, but in a way of being able to have this discussion openly where it's actually helpful. I mean, I think product ABC is nice, is nicely blinded, but we're truly blind, so it's not very helpful. But if this was actually held as a session, not part of the CME program, I mean, there are times you go to the ACS, right, and they have sponsored lunches by industry. That is actually separate. It's not part of the CME program. It's openly not part of the CME program. It's optional. You can be part of it. And you can actually make it again that it's not just one company, but have, all the 5 companies you've talked about can co-sponsor that program. And people coming now, of course, it's going to show up on your open payment, whoever signs up. So beware, they're going to say they gave you $60 or $80 for whatever that lunch is. But at least then it can be open and people can actually understand. And this group can then truly talk about product A, B, C, D, E in a way that makes sense that we can actually assess what you're truly talking about.
If we did that as a virtual conference type thing, you think there'd be interest? Do you think people would actually come?
I mean, I think in any form, even at one of these conferences, I mean, there's Benji Brooks, there are all sorts of lunches and times that are separate from the CME activity that it could potentially be weaved in, but I think virtually too, this is all AR and virtual stuff, right? Virtual would be great too.
Yeah, that's what I'd like the companies themselves to pitch to us. And that's something we decided not to do for this for obvious reasons, and that's why I think virtually it could work, because I don't know if we're going to fly in every company to one spot. Yeah. All right, well, I think that's it, unless there's any other questions. Feel free to come up and chat with anybody if you'd like to about any of the products you think that they talked about, and otherwise, thanks for coming.